Summer's here, which means so much fun, but it also means that we kind of have to do our makeup a little bit different. In this video, I'm sharing how to do this soft glam, sweat-proof makeup routine that's perfect for events, weddings, stuff where you need to look a little extra glam, but you're gonna be outside and you know you're gonna be a little bit sweaty, so you're gonna need things to last a little bit longer than they would otherwise. I live in Houston, Texas. It's absolutely hot and humid. I am the girl to trust when it comes to sweat-proof makeup. I have tried it all. I know what I'm talking about when it comes to creating a makeup look that's going to last through the elements. So let's get started. All right, so I've done a bunch of these videos throughout the years and I always start this off talking about skin prep. Skin prep is so important. I've talked about this a million times. I always talk about this in so many different videos. So make sure that you are exfoliating a little bit. This is the best tip, is using some sort of glycolic peel pad like the Elemis ones. If you don't have that kind of money to spend on the Elemis like peel pads, grab this. This is the St. Ives BHA exfoliating toner. It has a little bit of salicylic acid in it, and just put it on a cotton round. It really sloughs off a lot of the little flakies that makeup tends to cling onto, which is especially important in summer when you're trying to like get a really great base layer. We're doing that. We're making sure that we're moisturizing. We're putting our SPF on. Have to use SPF because the SPF in your foundation and complexion products is not enough. That's what we're starting with. And one other thing I like to do, I mentioned this in a lot of different videos that I've done, is that I take a facial oil. This is the Ordinary 100% plant-derived squalane. And what I do is I take one drop and I put it underneath my eyes as a means to prep the under eye area for concealer. Now that sounds a little crazy when we're talking about summer, because it's like, why are we putting oil under there when it's gonna be hot and humid outside? Trust me, it works. It really is like the best like prep there, because it's not gonna let the concealer and stuff settle into those lines. And we've talked about this all the time, is when we're going to go in with our primers, we're gonna want to make sure to use a gripping primer. Like the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer has been my go-to for a few years now, but I've also recently started to really love this Urban Decay All Nighter Ultra Glow Face Primer. It is a gripping primer. What's a gripping primer, you ask? Well, it's this nice like gel formula of a primer. It feels really soothing, cooling, hydrating to the skin, and then as it dries down, it begins to get a little bit of a stickiness to it. And what that is that's going to help the makeup grip onto it. So it's literally like this nice little sticky base that everything's gonna lay on top really nicely to it. Since we're doing the soft glam look today, I like to stick with like a medium coverage foundation. You know, this is something that we're wearing to a brunch, an event, a wedding, something like that, where we wanna look really nice, but we know it's gonna be summer. Two options, like this is a brand new foundation from Urban Decay, the Face Bond. This has been pretty polarizing on social media, but I love this foundation so much, and I feel like it's going to be the perfect summer foundation. And along with this is my tried and true summer foundation, the Maybelline Superstay Skin Tint. Don't let the words skin tint confuse you. It's not a tint. It's definitely got nice medium coverage. It's beautiful. It wears amazing. It makes the skin look amazing. I cannot say enough good things about this. For today's purposes, we are going to be using the Face Bond, and we're going to go in with some techniques that I haven't really done before on camera. So I've put some of this foundation on my hand. I'm going to work it into my brush, and then I'm gonna press it into the skin. And we're gonna work this in sections. This is really gonna help me avoid applying too much foundation to the skin, which is absolutely crucial when it comes to summer sweat-proof makeup. We are going in light layers. We're gonna talk about it over and over again. We are gonna go in light layers. This shade is slightly off for me right now because I am completely not self-tanned at all. And this works a little bit better for me when I have a little bit of a glow to my skin. Oh, it's getting in my eyebrows. My eyebrows, I actually did that off camera before I started. We're not gonna talk about the brows really too much today, but I'm gonna have to fix that. The longevity and the wear on this stuff is crazy good. I love the way it looks on my skin. Okay, I film in natural lighting in front of a window, so I'm always like messing with my camera to make sure I have the right lighting situation going on. So we're gonna keep going, fix the brows, and now the next thing we're gonna do is color correct, and I'm gonna do just a really slight amount of this. This is my e.l.f. color corrector in peach. This is really going to help cancel out any discoloration, and I'm just apply just the tiniest amount. So we're going in really, really light amounts today. You're gonna notice I'm gonna be applying a lot of product to my hand or my brush first before applying to the skin. This product in particular, I don't feel like I need to do that with because it just deposits the right amount of product. I don't really go overboard with it, but it's really easy to do that with concealer. So if you find yourself that concealer is just getting way too cakey and creasy on you, try this technique where you're gonna apply some to the back of your hand and you're gonna dip like a little brush or your sponge or even your finger into it and then start applying it to the skin. So we're gonna go just right on top of my color corrector. I really just did like one little swipe of concealer on my hand, and you notice here that it's providing the correct amount of coverage. I feel like I don't really need anything else. I feel like all of us, we just tend to apply way too much makeup in general because we're swiping things around our face. We see people doing this on social media, so we think like this is the correct way to apply concealer. You can even use it, like I have it on this brush, and like spot concealing with it as well. Any other additional areas I want some coverage. This is the BK Beauty A506 concealer brush, which is amazing. I feel like I get a lot of questions like, why would you use a brush over a sponge? I feel like I'm getting so much more control with this brush, and it's not shearing out the product too much. Like when you use a makeup sponge, which I love, I love and use this all the time, I feel like it'll shear out the coverage a little bit more, and I can't get as precise. So if I were to like dip in and then start putting it on around the face, I'm just not getting that precision that I would with this brush. You could also definitely use your finger in the same manner if you do not have like a concealer brush, and then look at the skin, and then that's when you're gonna go in with your sponge and sort of tap out the excess, any creases that might have happened. Oh yeah, this is looking great. So we're gonna begin the bronzer blush situation slash contour stuff. So one tip that I shared last year was to use a cream product and to set the cream product with a powder product. So like using a cream bronzer and setting with the powder bronzer, use a cream blush, set with a powder blush. So you're not using as many setting powders all over the face, which can also tend to look really cakey. That advice still stands, but this year what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take it a step further, and we're not applying any of these products directly to the face. So especially for mature skin, I look back at some of my other videos where I'm just drawing all over my face and like with all the products, and yes, I know what I'm doing so I can blend it out properly, but I've noticed the more I really just focus on going in light layers and not applying directly to the skin with the product, like I'm not gonna draw this Rare Beauty bronzing stick straight onto my skin, and I'm going to dip my brush into it, maybe use my hand as a way for me to work it into the brush and then apply to the skin. It's a game-changing move, but I do feel like when I get down here, I like to draw it on. I really like to get that definition, baby. But like when we're doing it on the face, I don't feel like I need any more. I also do like to draw it on my nose, I will say. But if that is too much of an advanced move, use like a little brush like this. Cream bronzer, who? Like that is so easy. We're making this so much more complicated than it needs to be. We're gonna do this same exact thing with our liquid blush. I have this little like towel here wiping off my hand, so I have like a nice little clean palette. You're gonna be using the back of your hand a ton today. So same thing, this is the e.l.f. cream blush. They're very, very pigmented, like hella pigmented. So we're gonna put just a little bit on the back of my hand, spread it out with my finger, and then start dipping my brush in. So I'm using this like double-sided IT Cosmetics brush, which the e.l.f. Complexion Duo is literally the same thing. See how much there is on this? So we might have to pounce a little bit off, and then work it into the skin. Again, this is really just minimizing the chance for things to cake, smear, be really patchy on the skin. So if I were to go directly on the skin with the liquid blush, it could start looking super patchy and start picking up product underneath it. Whereas when I am applying to the hand, then going onto the skin like this, so different. It's such a different look, and we're still getting the same beautiful blushy look. That is one of my biggest tips today, is start applying your products to your hand or onto your brush and not directly onto the skin, including your concealer, especially when you're trying to do a makeup look that is going to last all day, because the more product you're going to put on your face, the more ability that it has to cake, slip, slide, and sweat off. Now we're going to go set the cream bronzer with a powder bronzer. This is my favorite L'Oreal Fresh Wear bronzer. The idea of us using a cream bronzer and putting a powder bronzer on top of it, that is really helping us minimize the use of loose setting powders, pressed setting powders. You don't have to go in, you don't have to double up with the bronzer and blush. You can certainly just use a powder or a cream and then set powder on top of that if you really want to, but I really like this way of doing things. For my blush, I'm gonna apply a little bit of this House Labs blush on top. It was limited edition, but now it's permanent. It's in the shade Dragon Fruit Days. It's this beautiful electric pink that we're just using. We're setting that Rare Beauty liquid cream blush with a little bit of this powder blush. And I really like to pull this all the way up into the temples, even into the under eye area. I love it. Here we are. One of my big tips for summer sweat-proof makeup is to use setting spray in layers. So I feel like at this point, I want to use a layer of my Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray. I've tried so many setting sprays and I always go back to this one. I feel like it really just is super long wearing. I love it so much. We're gonna let this dry down just a little bit. We are going to be super strategic with our setting powder today, and we're going to be very precise with it as well. So this is the Huda Beauty Easy Bake Powder in the shade Cherry Blossom. It has a slight pink shade to it. Get whatever loose setting powder you want, but I really like this one, and I use a powder puff, put a little bit on the edge of it, or on the top of it, and then I am going to just pounce it on my hand. See, we're using this hand. This hand is getting worked today. Like real close up, look into your mirror, take your sponge, tap out if there were any settling, anything that settled in the process of us doing other things, tap that out. Take your powder puff and then just gently go around the eyes. We're kind of avoiding where we've set with the powder blush and the powder bronzer. I want to avoid dusting powder all over myself, so I'm spot powdering with my powder puff on the other areas of the skin that didn't get hit with the bronzer. As much as I love using a fluffy brush and dusting powder all over my face, sometimes I feel like it could potentially not work like I want it to, because things can cake a little bit more and I'm not fully setting things down that I want to. I'm just being, like I said, super precise with my powder puff, making sure to tap it all in, and I'm setting it around the mouth, underneath the bronzer, kind of on the forehead, between the brows, right above the brow where things look a little shiny sometimes, and just hitting those areas because I need this to be set. But I'm not gonna use that fluffy brush, and it could miss spots that I really want this powder to precisely set. If powders just are not your thing, skip it, use setting spray. But for me, I need to use them, and then another layer of the Urban Decay All Nighter. And then we're gonna move into the eye look. An eye look can be kind of tricky when we're talking about something we wanna be soft glam, but we also want it to be sweat proof. So I'm gonna show you a few little things that you can do that'll be really helpful. So I'm using the Makeup by Mario neutral palette just to create a little bit of a base on the eyes. I'm just using some of these on this one on the top right, and then I'm using this one right here, and this is just gonna get messily thrown in. I'm gonna use a little bit of a darker one and sort of throw that right here. This does not have to be done super precise, but using these matte shadows are really gonna help. These last really long. That's just our little base. Use whatever matte browns that you have. And then one amazing tip that I have is, if you're worried about your concealer creasing underneath your eyes, you have all these little lines, one of my favorite tips is just to use eyeshadow under there, and the eyeshadow is really gonna help kind of mask some of those little, and so I'm using just a mid-tone brown, and that's gonna go underneath the eye. We're masking the little lines. So if that's your problem area, it's a really put together eyeshadow look, but we're masking a little bit of those little creases that tend to crease. We're people, we make faces, we move. If your face is frozen, maybe things won't crease, but we move, we're human, things happen. The next tip that I have for an eye look is to use cream shadow sticks. So I've used these matte shadows to kind of create a little bit of depth on the eyes. Totally optional, but I want to be soft glam. But using a cream shadow stick is going to give you that super longevity that these formulas have. What's great about them is that they're really, really easy to blend. They're super creamy, and then they set down and then they don't move. I'm going to be using this Essence one. I will obviously be linking everything that I've been talking about today. And you want to work one eye at a time. This one's going to go along the upper lash line, and then I take like a little fluffy brush and blend upward to get that really nice diffused definition. So it's giving me a lot of really beautiful definition towards the lash line without a heavy looking eyeliner. But this is also, you know, kind of contributing to the overall look of the eyeshadow. And then I'm gonna take this Milani Cream shadow stick, and this is like a really nice kind of taupey, almost purpley look to it. And what I'm gonna do with this one is gonna kind of go just all over the lid. And you can even use your finger to tap this out. See how I'm getting like that really nice color onto the lid now? This is not gonna go anywhere. Wow, the sun came out. The light I'm always messing with. For our mascara today, we're gonna be using a tubing mascara. And I mentioned this in my last year's summer sweat-proof video, that a tubing mascara is an amazing long-wearing formula that is not waterproof, that easily removes with just water, like warm water. You can definitely Google this and read up on tubing mascaras for yourself if you want to. But the point of this is that I really recommend a tubing mascara for summer. If you're someone that doesn't wanna wear a waterproof mascara, which I totally get, you want something that's really long-wearing, try a tubing mascara. Essentially, what I do is I like to curl my lashes real good, and then I work all at once with the mascara. Tubing mascaras don't really layer very well. Kind of have to do it all at once because once it dries down, it's set. So I'm gonna apply a little bit of my the e.l.f. lash extender, and we're gonna move on with our lives. But I'm gonna turn the camera off and apply this so we're not just watching me like. All right, this is an optional step, mascara is on, but when I'm doing soft glam, I love to wear a lash, and I love these super lightweight lashes that I get off of Amazon. I will absolutely link the ones I use below. They're so thin and lightweight, and I think for summer, I wear them year round, but especially for summer, they're gonna hold on a lot better because they're not a super heavy lash. And if you have an event, you have a wedding to go to, something outside, and you wanna look really extra special, a lash is always gonna amp up the volume. This lash glue, oh my gosh, I have to recommend it for summer. It is the Lash Couture Super Strong Strip Lash Adhesive, and let me tell you, it is the best long-wearing lash glue I have ever used. So I'm gonna put these lashes on real quick. What I like to do with my lashes is I cut a little bit off the ends, and so it's not a full lash. It's just almost, it's like a 3/4 lash. You could also do a half lash. I feel like they're so much more comfortable to wear, and when they're super comfortable to wear, they're not poking you in the inner corner, they're not poking you in the outer corner, they last longer. And if you're using a really amazing lash glue, they're gonna last longer than that, period. I'm gonna put these on. I'm in a major hurry to finish this video, so the lashes are on, and then I applied a little bit of my lip liner. This is the Makeup Forever Wherever Walnut Lip Liner. It's great, it's so long wearing. And then this lipstick I talked about last year, the Urban Decay Lip Bond, so good. A great drugstore dupe for this is the Maybelline Vinyl Ink. I love the shade Back Talk in this Urban Decay Lip Bond. The prettiest, mauvey, almost pink, neutral, and I don't feel like Maybelline has this exact color, so I just had to mention it. What I love about this lipstick is that it is really long wearing, but it has a really nice comfortable formula. It feels like you're just wearing a traditional lipstick, and it has almost a glossy look to it. We're gonna ice ourselves a little bit with a little bit of highlighter. This is the Essence Pure Nude Highlighter, and then we're gonna add a little bit more setting spray to finish this off. And that's it, guys. Here is the summer sweat-proof soft glam makeup look. I hope this was helpful. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any other questions, any other video suggestions, leave them in the comments. Next video, I'm doing a minimal version. Just you wait. So we'll see you in the next video. Bye.